Stoops app. I'm Brad McMullen along with Hall of Fame football coach Bob Stoops. And now we've moved in to the month of October. And September's taught us a lot. And probably the first lesson is that the Arkansas Razorbacks are a much better football team than most of us thought.
Absolutely. I love watching them get prepared to play Texas A&M. Sam Pittman has done an unbelievable job in a short period of time of really building a tough, hard-nosed football team. And KJ Richardson is quarterback, big physical guy that can run with it as well as throw. I kind of said before they played A&M that they made a statement beating the heck out of Texas, and I said they're going to double down on that statement by beating A&M, and they did last week at AT&T Stadium, and they'll be recruiting the heck out of the city of Dallas and everywhere down in Texas.
Yeah, they played very, very well. And now, if you take a step back and look at the Texas Longhorns, you were very high on them. They look really good ever since they made the quarterback change.
Well, I believe in Casey Thompson. Really good athlete, thrower, really good quarterback. And it surprised me that they didn't go with him from the start just for how he played in the bowl game. And he has some maturity and experience to him. And it is really playing well, as is the rest of the team. So we'll see if the Texas game was a fluke, or are they really that kind of a football team. But we'll find out here in October.
Yeah, Casey Thompson, 5 touchdowns against previously undefeated Texas Tech. I mean, he looked just like he did in the bowl game.
No, Casey's, again, I've talked about it. It surprised me he didn't start from the beginning. And now that he has this chance, I believe he's just going to continue to get better.
All right, other surprise team, Oregon. Oregon, of course, went on the road, beat Ohio State, and you were high on Oregon early on, and everybody else is on the bandwagon.
Well, and I'm sitting here wondering, how are they not a top 5 team? And maybe they are this week probably, but from the beginning, you could go into the horseshoe and beat Ohio State soundly.
With 5 defensive starters missing.
Exactly. You deserve to be in the top 1, 2, 3. That's the best win to this point in the best fashion. I get Georgia beating Clemson. Doesn't look as good maybe today, but to go into the horseshoe and beat up and be out physical Ohio State, that says something.
Yeah, and other big surprise, you mentioned it, Clemson. What in the world happened to Clemson offensively?
It's hard to say because, listen, they put out so many players leave early or go into the draft, and some have transferred. So it gets tough to keep playing at that high level. DJU has obviously, just been okay at quarterback, not what everybody expected, along with the players around him. I never believe at all that it's the one guy, just the quarterback. That quarterback has to be supported by running the football, a line, receivers getting open, on and on. But they have struggled, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. It's going to continue to be a struggle, unless, of course, sometimes I think in the ACC that schedule can get pretty easy at times.
Yeah, they do not play another ranked team again the rest of the season. The surprise for me watching them on the footage against NC State is the offensive line of Clemson got 0 push. They were not moving the line of scrimmage, and obviously that impacts your offense quite a bunch.
Absolutely. If you can't run the football to open up the passing game, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a hard day, and then those defenders up front start teeing off, getting to the quarterback, and their line is just been so-so to this point.
All right, Penn State, undefeated, 4-0, looking really, really good as well. And you had a chance to see them in person this year.
I think Mike Yursich, the offensive coordinator, who I think does a really good job. You're starting to see them open up, and you're starting to see the air raid offense, along with some good run game. Penn State does a good job also finding the run game, kind of like OU through the years of, even though it's been an air raid offense, I've always found a way to really run the football. Struggling a little bit this year, but Penn State I see catching that rhythm with their 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years. But I think they're really starting to find their groove right now.
The last few years not so good for the state of Michigan when it comes to Michigan State and the Michigan Wolverines, but not so fast for 2021. It's been quite the year. Both teams undefeated.
Very, very good football teams too. Both played really tough defense. And offensively, in particular, Michigan look different. They have more big plays, run game, pass game. I see them going with some run pass options with wide open receivers, play action pass with wide open receivers getting big plays. That's what they hadn't had in the past, big plays, and they're getting these big plays this year. McNamara, their quarterback, his numbers aren't dynamic, but he's played really good in my opinion for what they want him to do, and look for them to continue to play well. Michigan State as well, really solid football team.
And how about the Baylor Bears, undefeated at 4-0, an impressive win against Iowa State last week?
They are playing good. Dave Aranda, their head coach, is I think third year maybe, and really doing a good job. Solid football team, just like you like to watch. Good solid defense, strong special teams. Offense doesn't turn the ball over. They're playing in a really good way.
All right, teams that are undefeated, but people are going, they haven't looked so good. You talking about the state of Oklahoma. Oklahoma Sooners, preseason number 2 in one poll, number 3 in another. They have not looked like a top 5 team, but winning is important, and they're still undefeated at 4-0.
And you got to give them that, the resiliency to keep fighting, keep working. That last 4-minute drive to win the football game was a great drive. Spencer Rattler, I think, goes 6 for 6. Run, pass, we mixed it great. Lincoln Riley, in my opinion's great at that, those 4-minute, whether to cancel out a game or to go down with a great field goal kicker and find a way to win it here at the end. Did a great job of execution. What we're not getting are the big plays. People are sitting playing soft zones against us, and we're not running the football as effectively as other years. So the two of those together make it difficult to come up with big plays. If we start running the football a little bit better, being more physical up at the line of scrimmage, creating better seams, we've got a chance for more play action pass and those big plays to come. I also believe Spencer Rattler's been under pressure too much. People are getting to him. Our line just needs to do a better job, and I believe they will. But at this point in the year, that is still coming together and hasn't come together fully just yet.
And I know Kirk Herbstreit and other people who have watched the Oklahoma program closely say they're very, very close. Like, they're very, very close to blowing things open. How are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's always a fine line. What is close? To everyone, it's all relative, right? It's all different to everybody.
Just as long as the games aren't close.
Yeah, so we'll see. I hope they are. And let's give credit to the defense. In a couple tight games, the defense has been good enough to win it for them as well. And the kicking game. Gabe Burkich the other day with the game-winning kick. And so, hopefully it's close, and hopefully it'll start coming together. It needs to here in the next week and next couple weeks.
Yeah, and we talk about the expectations in Norman, the expectations in Tuscaloosa, South Bend, these programs that are used to winning and winning at a high level. The fans expect it. Now, there was a small group of fans that were chanting for the backup quarterback, Caleb Williams, to go in and may have potentially been booing the offense on the field. Your thoughts on that? And again, it was not the entire stadium, not to say that the media would ever blow anything out of proportion. It was a small group of people at the game. But still, it's got to be frustrating to hear that.
That's really disappointing. I don't care what anybody says out there. These are college kids going to school, playing their hardest for the university, for the fans. And I just don't believe a college student should ever be booed or embarrassed in any way. And it's disappointing whenever you hear it. And it's sad that it happened. I really believe we have an incredible fan base. I said that in my tweet. We do, to sell out 21 straight years, 85 or 80,000 plus. But there's always a fraction of people who feel entitled, or we're not winning in good enough fashion, or that we should always be undefeated and always beat everybody by 40 points.
Which we should.
No. Yeah, it's just not realistic, and it's unfortunate and disappointing when a college person is ever booed. I just don't believe in it, and I don't care now that they have name, image, and likeness. That's no excuse to have rude behavior.
And here are the facts, though. Alabama has the longest winning streak in the country. Oklahoma alone at number 2. They finding a way to win. And the great teams, and if you go back, you look at the last 20 years of national champions, they've always had some games on the schedule where they didn't look very good or they had a closer game. And some of them have even lost. Remember Ohio State, Virginia Tech?
Sure.
Oklahoma still found a way to win. The great ones find a way to win.
I can remember back in 2000, fourth or fifth game of the year, we go in at halftime behind. KU is ahead of us. And we caught our rhythm in the second half, played well. And then, we went on to go undefeated and have some explosive games like 63-14 against Texas. But that was a far cry from just a week or two ahead of being behind KU at half.
All right, teams that would love to be in Oklahoma's shoes right now, like Iowa State and Clemson, both 2-2 heading into Week 5. What do you think happened with those two teams?
Hard to say. I haven't seen Iowa State as much, but I think they had 20 starters back. How and a lot of them seniors that came back for their last year. I'm sure all of it's been very close. I know a turnover or two, big deal. I know Breece Hall fumbled inside of the, backed up on their own goal line for a touchdown for Iowa. So it doesn't take much. And Clemson, their offensive struggles are what the problem is. Defensively they've been incredible, but offensively they just haven't been able to find their rhythm and score.
Yeah, and the other thing with Iowa State, the two teams they lost to are both undefeated. They're both really, really good football teams. And again, the turnover bug got them. On Oklahoma, the positive, the defense has played really well. 10 years ago, if it's a game that you win 16-13 in the SEC or some other conferences, they'd be like, this is a great team.
Right.
But Oklahoma not getting that respect.
Yeah, no, but, defensively, they have kept them in there, when the offense hasn't, performed up to what we're used to. But defensively, they come up with turnovers, big third down stops, and and some fourth down stops. So they've just been really solid, I think, overall.
And some teams that had some high expectations in the ACC that have not delivered and are no longer in the top 25. We're talking about North Carolina and the University of Miami.
Yeah, and I didn't buy either one of them to be a playoff type team. They're just not there yet, and it's showing. Miami especially, they're when it comes to playing the really big teams, they haven't been able to beat them. And then North Carolina's a little bit more of a shock. I thought Sam Howell, their quarterback, would have had a better year so far to this point. But again, when it comes down to those really good teams, I don't see them being up there to win it all or to beat, to win the championship or to be a playoff team.
And surprise, surprise, the Heisman favorite right now is the Ole Miss quarterback. Ole Miss with a huge game against Alabama coming up this week. They're considered one of the surprise teams because they're on the verge of the top 10.
Yeah, Matt Corral, their quarterback's done an incredible job. They're really great running the football and then getting big plays through the passing game. Big shots downfield. Got receivers that are getting behind people. So Lane Kiffin down there has done a heck of a job, and I won't be surprised if they don't beat Alabama. Just with that kind of speed and big play potential. Whenever Alabama's been beat, it's been by a great quarterback. I think the last 6 times they've been beat, the quarterbacks are like 17 TDs to 0 interceptions. So I look for Matt Corral to have a huge game against them.
It's going to be exciting. And of course, your Iowa Hawkeyes, you have to be proud of this team, undefeated as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to go in 2 weeks. We're going to go to Iowa City for the Penn State at Iowa game. So Kirk Ferentz, his staff have done an awesome job. Brian Ferentz, his offensive coordinator, is really good at just being balanced, run and pass. They do both well, maybe not super, but well. They take care of the football. They don't put too much, stress on their quarterback, Petrus. But when he does throw it, he's solid throwing the football. So it's really a good, solid offense. They have probably the best punter in America. And that makes a difference when you have a great defense. They got a top 2-3 defense in the country. Phil Parker, their defensive coordinator, I've known for a long, long time, does a fantastic job. And all eyes on the backfield, and they see balls, they tip balls, they get turnovers. They're great on third downs. So they've done a great job, and so a really solid football team.
All right, your final thoughts on the month of September. What have we learned so far this season?
Well, there's a lot that's still evolving. Everyone thinks we have it figured out to start the year, and we find out 4 or 5 games into it we didn't have it figured out. So I think teams like Iowa, we're going to find out. Penn State, Iowa, big Michigan, all really having solid years. Michigan State, Big Ten's deep, strong, but we'll find out here as they keep playing each other who can withstand it all. I do believe this will be the year in the Big Ten that Ohio State doesn't win it, which is unusual. And, the Big 12, we'll see. I still feel Iowa's the favorite. But we've got, OU is the favorite. Still got some big hurdles, though. There's a lot of good teams in the Big 12 as well. And SEC, I'm going to be excited to see Ole Miss, Alabama. Is Arkansas, can they keep it up? It's exciting. What's maybe the best thing is a lot of years it's just the top 3 or 4, and everyone knows who they are. Whether it be Clemson, OU, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, there's always a few others. This year, there's like 6, 7, 8 teams that we'll see who can catch fire and keep going. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, buckle up. We're only 4 weeks into the season. Week number 5 starts this weekend. Don't forget, you can win a chance to have lunch with this guy, the Hall of Famer, Bob Stoops. Just enter to win right here inside the app. And don't forget, you can watch videos 24/7 right here inside the app. Just click on our video link. For Hall of Fame coach Bob Stoops.